already did it. With the subs up, you better listen. Coming up, but ain't no competition. Nah, I ain't tripping. All the boys got 'em moving to my flow. Now the girls got 'em dropping low. Going through the most, cause they ain't afraid to grow. Coast to the coast, I'ma hit your radio. Feeling body every day. I know that. Now I'm finally on my way. I know that. I've been on my gun, I've been feeling myself. I do it for me, mom, for nobody else. I'm looking what I see. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, ready. Hit different. Ooh, over there. Who's the hot one with the long hair? Looky. Ooh, that's me. Mirror, showing them a bad bitch. And I don't see the girl that I fell. So down and out on the south. A total mind and body globe down in every cell. Living it up. And I'ma go and killing it cause this is what I do. Dreaming about it every day. I know that. Now I'm finally on my way. I know that. I've been on my gun, I've been feeling myself. I do it for me, mom, for nobody else. I'm looking what I see. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, bang. Boom, bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Boom, bang. Boom, bada, boom, bada. Hit different. Feeling hot, I'ma get in it. Got you feeling that bass when I'm hitting it. With the bang. Hit different. When a little mama got a big vision. Hit different. Aiming high, baby, I go the distance. I've been putting in work, putting in time, putting me first. Now my whole life. Hit different. With the bang, ready. Hit different. Say imitation is the highest form of flattery. Well, I guess using that equation, you must really fucking love me. Now I can bang you on the shit. Check the fit. Got you maxing out the visa, tryna cop the vision. Tryna be oh, but everyone can see you're the cheapo repo pizza, and I'm the Mona Lisa. You're talking while I'm walking by. Look a little green, I know you're dead. No, you won't want mine, so take my advice. Get a life. Love me or hate me, but you're still super shady. Got my name on the daily, but you wanna be just like me. So fakey, want a piece of this cakey. I'm a superstar, baby. Yeah, you wanna be just like me. Wanna be, wanna be. Just like me. You're talking while I'm walking by. Look a little green, I know you're dead. No, you won't want mine, so take my advice. Get a life. Love me or hate me, but you're still super shady. Got my name on the daily, but you wanna be just like me. So fakey, want a piece of this cakey. I'm a superstar, baby. Yeah, you wanna be just like me. Wanna be. Just like me, wanna be, just like me. Look at me, I know you can't resist what you see. The curves, the heels, the hips. Hit your screen, and baby, now you're mine. Love on me, hate on me, you can get me off your mind. What I got to the top, all that body, yaddy. Some tryna cop how I pop, but they almost calling. I'll be stacking millies while you watch me. Sorry, but I ain't sorry. Stare all you want, get what you need. Just know the show is never free. Give me your good, ugly or bad, I still get the bag. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like it or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Help me put my money in a big bag, you gon' get me paid. Put your head and replay, come on, give me your tongue. Stepping all of this cake, make it eat it no crumbs. Do how I do it and let it do what it does. Love on me, hate on me, you can get enough, baby. Got a black without a degree, got a magazine VIP. Run it back and you feel the heat. I play the game and y'all want it, so I ain't crying over comments. Stare all you want, get what you need. Just know the show is never free. Give me your good, ugly or bad, I still get the bag. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like it or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Ooh, it's a little sad, it's gotta be this way. That you're bitter with the mirror, so you come for me. Looky at my face, but you wanna taste. Got a lot to say, but you can't look away, babe. Sucky, hey, make you wanna play. Yeah, you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Like it or you don't, I'm gonna get money, make it on the internet. You can call it fake, you can go and hate, but you wanna hit it good, wanna hit it like I'm clickbait. Help me put my money in a big bag, you gon' get me paid. Help me put my money in the fat stack, you gon' get me paid.
Welcome back to this channel, everyone. It's your resident internet psychic medium, spiritual advisor, Mystic Rain. How are you guys doing? Did I mute myself? I muted myself. Wait, hold on. Technical difficulty. Am I muted? Can you hear me? Oh, I hope that wasn't in somebody's ear. I hope no one's wearing headphones. How you guys doing? Okay, good. Oh, I'm Elle DeWitch. You got in here early. Hello, Rain. Hi. You got in here all the way early. Grand Rising, everyone. I am Lisa. What time is it where it is that you are? Kaylin? Yeah, I finally made it to one. Bayano Gray, how are you? I'm good. Today, I'm a little bit tired today. My muggle life kicked my ass a little bit. I'm not going to even hold you. Work was crazy today for me. But other than that, I feel okay. What are you guys been up to? I have been shopping because it's Christmas. I feel like I can't, or it's going to be Christmas. By the way, did Christmas start early this year, or am I having like a Mandela effect kind of situation? I feel like we went from Halloween, October 31st, and then I blinked, and then the following day it was Christmas, and then everything changed. And I could have sworn on my life that there was like this gap in the middle where it was like fall festivities and like Thanksgiving. And that like we would get commercials for that, and then you would go to the stores and it would be like fall decorations, and then after Thanksgiving it then switched over to Christmas. But I feel like this year I did not receive the memo. I feel like suddenly it was November 1st, and then there was like Christmas commercials everywhere, and then I went to a Home Goods and there was like Christmas decorations everywhere, and like I don't like, what timeline am I on? Because I swear like that wasn't, I think like that wasn't a thing. Like I feel like there was a whole gap that used to happen in the middle, and it's gone. I always put my Christmas tree up after Halloween. I want to see it as long as possible. That's so funny. Well, so like now, because now I'm like, oh snap, I don't have any time. I thought I was gonna have like after Thanksgiving, and I don't have it because it started. I went to a Home Goods and they were in there like, I had never seen Christmas decorations be sold so quickly and then shelves be empty. And so I felt pressured, right? Like to like keep up. And then I realized that like being married, because this is like our first like proper Christmas together, that I'm the one that like the woman like creates the home. I had a moment, right, where like I was just like sitting and I was like, oh shit, that's me. Oh my God, that's my job. Like if I want like Christmas cheer in the house, I'm Santa. Like, holy crap. And then I was like, honey, get your shoes. We got to go shopping, you know? And then he was like, what? And I was like, I need you to carry a tree. So I need a willing participant right now. Go get your shoes. We're going shopping, right? And he was like, okay. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my, did I just like miss a whole narrative? Yeah, I think consumerism is so low. They're speeding things up. I've been delivering less packages lately. Is that a thing? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But anyway, yeah, I got a tree. And it's funny because it's like one of those trees that look like it has snow on it, but then like I live in Atlanta and it doesn't really snow here. But we're going with the theme. We're going with the concept, right? So the concept isn't fully mapped out yet. I'm going with vibes. But I trust that with enough cheer, we'll be able to make something slap. It's always fun when I catch you like, oh, you guys. By the way, did you hear about that Matt Gaetz thing? Matt Gaetz and that being Trump's pick for Attorney General. I saw that today on CNN and I busted out laughing. Now, I think some people are going to be like, how could you laugh at that? But like, I don't know. I find the outrageousness of the entire thing like funny. I find it like entertaining to watch. And I find things Trump do to be entertaining to watch. Problematic, yes, but entertaining, yes. I find that he very much reminds me like, oh yeah, he was like Hollywood first and like he knows how to produce a real good show, you know? And then so when his picks started coming out, I was like, oh, this is about to be a real good show. This is going to be real fun to watch. And I'm going to start popping popcorn. And I feel like people are going to be like, oh my God, like, how can you say that? And like, what I want to remind you is that regardless of which way you voted, right? It's not that like votes don't count, but it is that like a lot of that fight isn't with like us, right? Like a lot of that fight isn't with the constituents. A lot of that is like infighting amongst them. Like they don't like each other. They've got issues with each other. And what we're really doing is just watching them fight like on TV. And I find that entertaining. I find the moves to be entertaining. And I also find it entertaining because I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing. And so it's entertaining to watch people freak out because they're thinking about longevity, rightfully so. But I don't see it lasting a very long time. And I also see a lot of it being undone. So like whenever they finish this little batch that they've got going, whenever this administration finishes, whenever that is, like I still don't see Trump doing a full 4 years. And that's if he gets into like if he's inaugurated. I don't see him going a full 4 years. I do see things like when we're done with this storyline, when we're done with this plot, I see it being either like ruled as like invalid or and things being unraveled and like undone. So a lot of things that are being done now, I see it being undone. Now, I don't see it being undone over like night. Like I see it being like this chapter finishes kind of thing. And then it'll take about like 3 years before we start seeing momentum of them like undoing things that have been done. But I see it, a lot of the stuff being undone. So when I'm watching it, I think maybe my lens is a little bit different because I'm like, oh, this is okay. So yeah, it's going to feel maybe a little bit uncomfortable now, but because like it's going to get undone, I'm like, this is just fun to watch for me, like right now. And I'm also really curious about how long is it going to take for Republicans to just implode? Why do I think they're going to implode? Because they're scared. Because Trump, who was polarizing for even Republicans, is now back. Because a lot of them over the last 4 years were really starting to speak out and say what they really, really felt about it. And now that is going to be their new boss. How fascinating. How fun to watch is that, right? Like, that's their new boss. So what are they going to do to keep their job? I'm very curious. Are they going to like go back on their word? And I feel like a lot of them would, right? Because like that's your boss and what are you going to do? I think that some people are going to swing and become fake loyalists, right? Why fake? For self-preservation. But why loyalists? Because Trump is about to be on a rampage. And like, I think some of his first acts are going to be going after the people that spoke out against him and figuring out how to either get them fired or get them out of like removed from office, and then and like replacing them with people that are considered more so like loyalists. Yeah. And I think it's gonna be fascinating to watch. Like Matt Gaetz, if he's confirmed as Attorney General, like isn't like wasn't he investigated? Like he's also like allegedly a criminal himself. Like how fun is that to watch? What like it's just entertainment. Like at this point, because they're just going to implode. They're not going to be able to keep it together. They're not going to be able to maintain a united like front for anybody. And they're just going to just like peel back one by one by one. And I'm going to be eating some popcorn as I watch them do that because I find it funny. And some people are going to be like, but Mystic Rain, like, what are you talking about? Because someone, if you're here, I'm talking to you, I'm talking about you, was like, I know you don't see it yet, but like, he's going to save our economy. And to that, I say, well, what was the policy? If you can repeat back to me what he said his policy was, and it makes sense, I'll give it up. I'll get off my soapbox. I'll get off of it. I really will. I will get off of it. Right. But also, I hate to break it to y'all, but there's not one person in Washington that's capable of saving anybody. They're not even capable of saving themselves right now. And you could tell due to the level of scrambling that's actually occurring, let alone being able to save any of us, right? And so if you're looking for any like screw who you nominated. Screw if you I don't care if you nominated Trump as your savior. What I'm saying is that there's nobody in that city that is capable of saving you from anything. Okay? The only person that can save you from anything is yourself. You have to be willing to save yourself. And I think this is how people get caught up, right? People get caught up in all kinds of situations in life, like because you're waiting for somebody to come and save you. That's not happening. Like no one is coming to save you. Like if you want to be removed from a situation, like you have to think like about yourself and like saving yourself and being your own savior. Like no one is coming. Like no one. No one. Okay. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to hurt your feelings. I just need you to wake up a little bit faster. Nobody on that hill is qualified to save you. And to be quite honest, I don't know why you would want to pick any of them to come save you. I don't know why you would want to do that. That sounds like a terrifying proposition to me. Okay? But like, no one is on their way. Okay? You got to save yourself. And if you keep putting the responsibility in someone else's hands, you're going to keep coming back feeling disappointed. And you're going to keep coming back feeling discouraged because that's also, in my opinion, a really unfair expectation to put on someone else. I, in my opinion, think it's a really unfair expectation to put on somebody else that they will save you, particularly when they don't even know you exist. Don't shoot the messenger, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. But they don't know you exist. How are they saving you? With what set of GPS coordinates? With what white horse? Like, we're like they're gonna stop what they're doing and then come get you? Is that what you thought was gonna happen? Like, they're not coming. No one's coming. Okay. And I also want you to like start decoupling yourself from this election. Oh, by the way, I do have one more thing to say, and maybe I'll be done. I don't know. I just find it really, really funny that for 4 years we've been talking about how we cannot trust our electoral system and how our elections are not fair and that people cheat and things need to be recounted. And suddenly, they are fair and nothing needs to be recounted and nobody stole anything. I'm not saying something was stolen. I'm just saying I just find it funny that it was a pretty consistent narrative for 4 years. You know, when elections typically take us like 1 week in order to like figure out who won, but we knew like early that morning and it was a seamless process and like no one had real difficulties and nothing needed to be recounted. I'm just saying, I just find it amusing. Coincidental, so to speak, you know? And so yes, I will be watching, and I do find it funny because this is really very much a them problem, and the way they get you in Washington is that they drag you in thinking that you're part of the mess, right? Well, if we just no, if you just do your job, representative, that you were elected to do, no, we here. What's happening is that you're not doing your job. You're coming up unsuccessful, and now it's a we thing. You know what I mean? So I just find it funny. You know, I just find it a little bit funny. You know. Anyway, go check out my book. The Fool's Guide to Tarot. We're getting really, really close to the release date. The release date is what, 2 weeks from now, November 26th. From what I can tell, it seems to be doing well. I don't know. I don't have numbers, right? The numbers, like, that's a publishing thing. I'll get them eventually, like when the reports go out, but it's not something that I have like day-to-day access to, right? I'm assuming it's doing okay because it's starting to hit the first page on Amazon without being sponsored. So that's reassuring, but let's keep it there. Okay. Let's keep it there. So if you were planning on, checking it out anyway, maybe check it out early by pre-ordering. And then I will be very grateful for you for doing that. And then also, plus, then the publisher is a lot more likely to let me sign a deal for the next one. Because they go, yeah, you're successful. Yeah, that'll work. I've got a lot of things that are currently on the table, but I would like them signed, And so, yeah, a little bit of a community effort. Also, fun thing that happened, I am in Pash Magazine. You want to see it? Pash Magazine is a lifestyle digital magazine, and look at that. I am the November feature. How cool is that? This was funny and like how that came up in the sense of like I posted a TikTok. I don't remember what it was about. And they just was like in the comments, like, hey, we'll feature you. And I was like, cool. And then they were like, cool. And then I like emailed them like, someone told me that y'all featured me, and they were like, cool. And then that was it. And it was done. If you're curious about it, though, the link to that is in the description box below. And, go check it out and then go help them out. Even if you don't want to read it, just click the link. You'd be amazed at how, matter of fact, let's do a call to action. Can you hit that like button for me while we're talking about this? Like while we're here, can you just, oh, thank you guys. While we're here, just go ahead and just press that like button. Just that'll be helpful. You know what I mean? Just go on and press it. I mean, you're watching anyway. You're obviously getting something out of this. You're coming back every week. I make you laugh. You get some chuckles. You know what I mean? I don't ask for much over here. I really don't. I really don't. I don't even really ask y'all to subscribe like that, but you can also go ahead and do that too. You know what I mean? While we're here, just go ahead and just click that for me. And then go ahead and scroll down. In that description box, you'll see a link to Amazon. Go ahead and hit that too. Go ahead. Click that. There we go. Because that's an algorithm too. So just click it. Even if you want nothing to do with it, just click it and then exit out of it. You know what I mean? And then go ahead and click that Pash Magazine article. Click that too. Algorithm stuff, right? Click it. You then exit out of it. You don't have to be interested in what's in it. You don't have to want to buy the book. Just click it. Just click it, right? It's an algorithm thing. Just click it, exit out of it. Hit that like button, okay? All right. Now that we have done some business. I heard some recounting from the dims, but nothing as loud as before. It's so not loud. It's so not loud. Very cool. Does that say cunty? Cunty iconic? Is that what that says? That I'm saying that right? It's so funny because I don't monetize these. And so I just be cursing. Like, that's it. That's the only way I can get away with it because, no one's paying me. Anyway, so I do have a couple of messages for you. So listen, we're going into a time where things are going to start feeling more intense. And this is just a reminder of what's happening in order for you to be prepared, right? We are now in our holiday season, okay? And so things are going to be feeling more intense. We are also moving into New Year, New Me territory. So things in your life that are meant to close out will start to feel like they want to close, right? And so you may start wanting to resist that because you're like, whoa. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for all of this change. This can't happen so fast and it can't happen so quickly, right? So I want to remind you that that is the energy of the times that we're in, right? So if things need to close out, let them close out. But I also want you to be empowered during that process, okay? So let me back all the way up. So the part about it being the holidays, in the air and the collective energy, everything is going to start feeling a lot more intense and people are going to start having feelings and things are just going to be emotional. Remember, that's the time that we're in. And because we are a collective, you're going to feel it more intensely, right? So if you get a whiff of sadness, a whiff of grief, it's going to feel a little bit more intense. When you feel annoyed, it's going to feel a little bit more intense. Aggravated, it's going to feel a little bit more intense because it's something that's beginning and it's going to sit in the collective and it's going to sit in the collective into 2025. This happens every year, right? I'm here to remind you. And so just keep a hold of what you feel like is going on with you specifically in order to stay grounded. And in this season, I want to offer something. Do what you want with it. Do what you want with it. But I would like to offer something. I think it could be really beneficial for you to learn how to reduce your emotional capacity, right? So if you are dealing with situations at work, and also I feel like for some reason, that's going to be a thing, people being really aggravated, particularly in their workplace environments or any environments and where you're making money. So if you're an entrepreneur and maybe you have a client or something like that, and they're getting on your nerves, I feel like it has to do with resource gathering activities, right? For a lot of people. And it's really getting on your nerves and it's really, really aggravating you. I would offer that perhaps if that's an area where you can reduce your emotional capacity. And some people are going to say, but Mr. Crane, I'm an empath. I know. Everyone here is an empath, right? Which is why I'm offering that maybe you can reduce your emotional capacity. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that you go throughout the world being hard, being turned off, and then not caring about everything. But it is an opportunity to remember that you do have an ability to discern what you do and don't care about, and not everything deserves to be cared about. So it's less about just don't care about anything, and more about remembering that not everything requires your attention and that not everything requires your energy, right? So like going back to like the workplace scenario, if it is a situation where like you've got this really aggravating coworker that you're working with, right? For the majority of you, you are already in environments where you have already decided that that's not where you're going to rest. The majority of you are already in environments where you already know that you have a plan. This is a stepping stone. It's a part of the process. But you already, like, a lot of you knew going in that you were going to be going out. A lot of you went, okay, this is a temporary situation for me, but this is not really where I want to end up, or I have this larger dream, this larger goal, right? Or I really want to be over here, but I think this could be a quick step in order to get to where it is that I'm going, right? A lot of you already identified before going into a particular situation that it wasn't going to be where you stayed. And now suddenly you're there and you have committed to caring more about it than you originally committed to do. You originally was like, this is a throwaway for me. This is a temporary thing for me. This is a temporary situation for me. I'm not going to be here the like entire time, right? I'm going to use this situation, this opportunity, these people to help me come up, to help me get what it is that I actually really wanted to get in the first place, to help me get the money that I actually originally wanted, like whatever the original motivation was, right? Like you had already committed going in that you were going to care less about it. But then being there, because it became something that you did daily and it became a piece of your life, something happened where you forgot that it is not your life. It's just something that you do in your life, but it's only something that you do temporarily in your life. And then so what's happening is that you're caring a lot more about situations in that situation than what you originally planned on doing, which is why I'm saying I think it could be beneficial if you allowed yourself to reduce your emotional capacity, right? So right now you're fully open emotionally, mostly probably because you forgot, right? And so I would say maybe take that 100% and reduce it maybe down to 20%, like reduce it back to the original percentage that you originally committed to do instead of being so widely open. And then also remember that as you're interacting with people in these situations, that those interactions may actually feel a lot more charged because they're charged. They're charged because they're part of the collective. We are in a holiday season, a time when people are stressed out, a time when people are stretched. People are stretched financially. People are stretched emotionally. People are stretched mentally, right? And a lot of people don't necessarily understand that that is collective energy and that they are being subjected to that. So they think that the experience that they're having is a bigger experience than what's actually occurring, which is what happens during this time of year because people forget. They forget that it's everybody. And so it almost like magnifies your experience. So if you're sad, you feel like double sad. And we have evidence of this happening because we have words for it, right? We call it like, and I'm sure there's also like science to this, but I just want to offer up a metaphysical perspective. Okay. So like that thing that we call like SADS, is it SADS? Like seasonal, it's like seasonal depression because the sun goes down early and we get less of it. That also happens during like holiday time, when people are a lot more stressed out and a lot more stretched. And so, yeah, the sun and vitamin D, but I also would like to offer up a metaphysical perspective of like some of that is like collective stress, collective concern, collective worry, right? Like there's a lot that's spinning energetically. And so that is going to amplify or make your experience feel amplified, make your experience feel more enhanced, right? That person that's really getting on your nerves are going to be like extra annoying. There's going to be something about it that's just getting under your skin just a little bit more than it was before. They always got under your skin. They always annoyed you. They were always annoying, but there's something about like right now where it's going to have that extra taste of, I don't need this. Why is this happening? I don't need this. Why are you stressing me out? There's just going to be a little bit of extra taste. There's a little bit of seasoning on the top, right? And so I say this to like remind you where we're going, right? But then, and so, to like exercise discernment about what you care about. Not everything needs to actually be cared about. All of this is just a projected experience that we're having, right? That's it. Not everything requires to be cared. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be an empath. It doesn't mean that you're shutting down your compassion. It just means that you can choose what you care about. And we do choose all the time. Because I think some people will say, well, I can't choose what I care about. I care naturally. Whereas I would say to that, but a lot of times we do choose. Like, has anyone had a moment with someone they got on your nerves and you went, I ain't dealing with that? And like you waved your hand at it and you dismissed it. Like that's a moment where you're choosing not to care, right? And so caring is a lot more in our control than we give ourselves credit for. And so going into this season, right, I think it would be wise to make more empowered decisions about what you allow to penetrate your field and what you allow yourself to actually care about, right? Because this is a time when, like, in addition to everybody being super high strung, it's also a time where a lot of people are going to be in your business, right? Because you're closer to people than you would otherwise be. So like family, for example, maybe you see them more than you would regularly see them. So like the cadence is off. So maybe they're aggravating, but because you don't see them so often, like you can tolerate them. But because during this time of year, you're around them a lot more often. And so it just feels a lot more intense, right? Just remember that that's going to be a variable. And so one of the things that you're going to be confronted with is that some of these new choices that you want to make, like some of these where am I looking for? So when it comes to your next step, right? Your next step in life, where you're trying to get to, that sort of ultimate place that you're using your current situation to allow you to springboard from, that requires you evolving into like this new person. You know that you've been working on it, right? Remember that as you start coming in contact again with like family members or like long lost family friends or like people you haven't seen in a long time, remember there's a gap between who they knew before and who they're now seeing, right? And so just remember that how people interact with you may feel different. It may feel sticky. It could potentially feel a little bit more challenging, right? Or maybe they're challenging you, maybe challenging how you're now showing up in the world, how you're now moving throughout your space, how you're now making your decisions, what you choose to do for work, what friends you're now surrounding yourself with, who you are now dating, or maybe who you broke up with, right? Like that's going to be noticed, right? And so people are going to say things because sometimes people are just ignorant, right? Don't use that as an opportunity to then close off and then go back into your shell, right? Use it as an opportunity to stand firm in those new decisions that you made about who you are and where it is that you're going. Because these people that you're going to come in contact with, they haven't seen you, or they haven't seen the new evolved version of you. And so when they do see it and like you roll up for dinner, right? Your energy is going to be different. It's going to hit different, right? So to speak. And that may make people feel like, whoa, what's going on here, right? Don't use that as an opportunity to get scared and then sort of like cower back into what it is that you're doing. And I also want to offer up too, because things are going to be closing out, another sort of anxiety that has a tendency to pop up during this time is like fear around like change, which is natural, right? Things like end, like metaphorically speaking, things like die, things go to sleep, right? Animals are going into hibernation. Well, depends on where you live. I mean, climate change, am I right? Like it's taking a real long time for this temperature to change, right? But like even animals are going to sleep, plants, trees, they're starting to go to sleep. Things are starting to die, right? It has to in order for there to be like a regeneration and new growth and birth and all that kind of stuff. And so that's going to be happening in your life. And we don't like change. And so we're naturally going to try to fight that, right? And so what's going to happen is that now you're going to be in a time of year where collectively is a little bit more emotionally heightened. And then you're over here looking over your shoulder because you're afraid that the other shoe is going to drop, right? And so I would like to suggest, and do what you want, okay? Because I'm just a psychic on the internet. I'm for entertainment purposes only. Do what you want. But I would like to offer that instead of being afraid of the other shoe dropping, you can just throw the damn shoe yourself. You know what I mean? At least you'll add some flair to the process, because we're so afraid of things ending, yet we know it needs to end, right? You went into a situation knowing that it's going to be temporary, yet you're in a place now where you're afraid to release it and let go of it, even though you know it doesn't really serve you and you don't really like it and you may not really enjoy it anymore. Maybe you did in the beginning, but like now you don't. And like you're holding on to this thing, being concerned that the shoe is going to drop when like the original plan was not for the shoe to drop. The original plan was always that you were going to be the one throwing the shoe, right? And so like maybe you should just throw the shoe. I heard and it was a synchronicity for me too. Like in my personal life, I went to lunch with a friend and we were just catching up, and then at the end she hit me with a I swear to God, like, and like we're like walking away from each other. She was like, "All right, that's great. Super glad to witness the season finale." She was like, "Can't wait to see the next season of your life," right? And that was just the first time I had heard that, and I just thought it was so funny and so cute. And then I had coaching, and it wasn't even said to me, it was said to someone else, because I also do like group coaching too. And but they were like, yeah, I have this way, like my life is like in such a way where I view my life as like season finales. And I was like, whoa, 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 hold on. Like everybody hold your horses. And I was like, a season finale, right? I like that idea. I'm going to start using it for my life. It could work for you. If it works, take it. If it doesn't work, then just leave it. You know what I mean? But networks are very smart when it comes to their season finales. A network knows how to read the writing on the wall. A network knows how to assess budget and money. And a network knows how to assess ratings and views and make decisions on whether or not there should be another season. And when it's concluded that there isn't going to be another season, a network is very good at having a season finale and pulling the plug, right? Not even a series finale, a season finale. Like in the US, like now this doesn't apply to everywhere outside of the US, right? There are networks in other countries who will wrap things up in a pretty bow, right? They'll have a show, they want to end it, and the show will have a full arc and it'll have a beautiful ending and it's satisfying and like whatever, right? But in the US system, they'll just end the shit. They'll just be like season finale and then be on a cliffhanger because they don't know if they want to revive it later, right? And then like be cool with it. Just be cool with like letting you be like, well, a network is really good at just ending the season and just like pulling it. And actors are really good at being flexible and adaptable and knowing that a season can end at any time and that it may not get picked up again. And even though it may feel uncomfortable, they are very, very good at moving on to the next thing or looking for the next thing. And so I was thinking, what if for manifestation purposes, we started viewing our lives as different seasons and we started viewing ourselves as like the head of the network? Because then we could end windows that we don't like early and we could begin new windows that we do like whenever, right? So if you are in a time where you feel like it's particularly challenging and you're like, I want to kind of wrap this up, right? What if you just wrapped it? What if you sort of made a claim that you were ending the season, that whatever series of events just happened in your life, you go, okay, you know what? That's going to be the season finale. That ends there. Maybe you feel like you've already identified what that lesson was for you to learn, or you feel like you've already identified whatever that opportunity was for you to learn. And so you're like, okay, we're going to end it. That's the end of that season. And then maybe you're very intentional about what you then want to happen next after that. And then you go, in my next season, starting now, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. What if you took that further and in addition to doing it with like times where you're like, I really want to wrap this up, you do this in good moments, right? So let's say whatever path you're on, you're trying to climb it, and then you get some kind of accomplishment in which you get some kind of award. Sometimes what we'll do is that we'll then be like, okay, well, when's the next thing happening? Or when am I getting that next opportunity or that next break? And then we leave the season on. We leave the season running and then things get stale, right? As opposed to you win this award for that thing you were working on. And then because you won that award, you end the season, right? Immediately done. Season, because, and then that season was the culmination. You started here, you're working, boom, you win this award. And then you make a decision that that next season is going to be bigger than that. That the next season is bigger than that award that you won, right? And then you pick what you want those things to be, what you want those accomplishments to be. What if you wrote your arc? Because I am someone that very much believes that fate happens to you, but destiny is decided by you and that it's written by you. What if you actually made a deliberate attempt to write your arc? Those of you that journal or those of you that just like to write as a hobby, maybe you do short stories, maybe you write scripts, I don't know, right? Shit, maybe you doodle on Post-it notes. I mean, I'm not really sure what it is that you do in your free time, right? But what if in that same period of time, instead of like journaling your day, you use that journaling time to write your arc for the season that you want to be in, right? You write how it starts, what happens in the middle, what that climax part is, right? If you want to write in your challenges, fine. Some people, like, I'm not gonna, whatever. I'm not gonna judge you for what it is that you like, right? Or you write in all your triumphs, right? And then you write how the season ends, and you're deliberate about that. But then also hold space for yourself, that maybe something juicy happens in the middle of your season, and you're like, actually, I'm the network. I'm cutting it here. Boom, done. This is now the season finale. And now we're going into the next season of what is. Because what happens a lot of times is that we have a tendency to overstay our welcome in certain situations, and it's very unintentional. And that situation could be, again, the same. It could be a job. It can be a relationship. It could be a friendship, right? We sit in it too long. And then because we're sitting in too long, instead of just leaving when the season was done, instead of being the one to throw the shoe, instead of overstaying our welcome and then waiting for the shoe to drop, right? We end up in the situation where the ending hurts more, and we then end up having to grieve an ending as opposed to being the one making the empowered decision and choosing when things start and choosing when things end. What if we just made the decision? What if we just did it ourselves? Like if you made your own seasons, like what would happen? What would it look like? Because at that point, it puts you into a space where you're actively designing. You're actively interacting with life. It becomes an active experience as opposed to being a passive experience, which is what it is for so many people. Life for people is very passive. It's a very passive experience, which is why you oftentimes have these moments where you feel like everything is happening to you and you have no control because you're not doing anything, because you're living very passively. And so, yeah, in a way, it is all happening to you because you're not dictating what can happen and what doesn't happen. Now, granted, are there going to be things that slip through the cracks? Are things going to happen that you were like, oh, I didn't see that coming? Like, absolutely. You know what I mean? Because that's the flair of life. That's the fun of it. That's the game of it. But what if you had a more active experience and you were more actively involved in the creation of it? If you played more of an architect role, where you were actively creating and designing and getting rid of things that didn't work once you spot it, right? Instead of waiting for the shoe to drop, being the shoe, choosing to throw it yourself, right? Instead of waiting for something to end, ending it yourself. Instead of waiting to be pushed out of an environment, leaving yourself, right? And then doing everything in a way that's empowered instead of letting everything happen to you, and then feeling disempowered because things are happening to you, as opposed to you just doing it yourself and then feeling empowered because you're the one making all of those decisions. Right? Does that make sense? Like, does that make sense to people? I like the idea of throwing the shoe yourself because that gives you the power to, yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, is that me and my months of unemployment where I know I can't stay in there forever, but I worry I won't find anything, or when I'm selected for the second, third interview, afraid that I'll be hired? Few things about that. So one, have you started the process of transitioning? Because maybe you have, right? So you can transition while still being like where you are. You don't necessarily have to wait to end where you are to start the process of transitioning. But I will say something about that second and third interview and being afraid that you'll be hired. I think that's a really good example of when people say move as if you already have something. This is a really good example of why you should move as if you already have the job. When you hold on, I got stuck for a second. I was like, should I go the metaphysical route or should I go the HR route? Let's start with the metaphysical route. When you start a process, any process, but this is just a good example. When you start the process afraid that you won't get it, it pushes it away from you. People say act as if you already have it, right? I'm going to give you an example. When you show up to an interview and you are acting and moving as if you've already have it, and in your mind, that's already your job, you show up to the interview different, right? When people are scared, they're very graspy. Like, give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. And it's kind of a turnoff. And even if people don't necessarily notice that, like you can still sense it. It's still all energetic. And it can also read as being insecure. It can read as lack of confidence. What it can also do is then make you like get nervous in an interview and then forget some of your answers. It can make you overthink what it is that you're saying, so you say too much or you don't say enough. It actually has the energetic like fallout from moving from that place is actually widespread. Versus if you showed up like this is my job, I already work here. Think about energetically how you're already moving different. You are probably a lot more self-assured. You're probably also a lot more confident. You're probably not as nervous, so it's easier for you to answer your questions. It's easier to think on the spot. It's not a situation where you're talking too much, too little. You're in a space where you're open energetically, so maybe you are developing a rapport with the people that are interviewing, because when people like you get a lot farther and you get a lot farther faster, right? And so you do have to move from a place of like, it's mine. And then I feel like I heard someone go, but what if I don't get it? Then it means it wasn't meant for you, right? Remember, there are no redundancies. It could have been a situation where you would have hated being there. They could have been absolutely awful or horrible to you. The pay wasn't that great. And maybe there was a different employer somewhere else that you actually ended up going with. They actually ended up paying you a lot more money, right? Maybe their development opportunities weren't good, but where you end up is their development opportunities are really great. And so maybe you climb whatever ladder that you're in, if that's something that you actually want to be doing, right? So you're moving with the assumption that it's yours, but the understanding that there are no redundancies and that you're still going to end up exactly where you're supposed to be, because remember, you've already mapped it out, right? Like, and your higher self knows this. You've already mapped it out. Sometimes, like an interview, sometimes the opportunity in an interview is different. We assume that the only opportunity is landing the job itself. Sometimes the opportunity is like just becoming better at interviewing, growing your confidence, learning how to talk to people in a way that's professional or in a way that's business, learning how to present yourself as an authority figure in whatever the field is or whatever it is that you're doing. There's also opportunities in that within itself, right? Now, from an HR perspective, we can smell that shit from a mile away. When you show up to the first interview and you're already scared about the second or the third one, I can sense that. And it's annoying. It's really annoying. For those of you that don't know, I have been in several organizations that I've worked in. I have been the head of human resources. So I have sat through plenty of interviews, and that's something that people know. Like, people know when you have that thought. And there is a huge difference between how people show up when they're moving as if the job is already theirs, even though they haven't been hired yet. There is a massive difference with someone that's moving in that way, because you can see it and you can tell that they're moving in that way. And I'll give you a clue. People like that, right? And someone who's already concerned that it won't work out. There's a massive difference energetically, but also like how people physically show up in that kind of space. It's massive. Like, it's massive, and it makes an impact on what the decisions are between who moves forward and who doesn't, right? Like, one thing that like happens is that sometimes you'll get people like candidates that'll say, well, after I'm hired, right, this is what I'll do, blah, 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 blah. Regardless of whether or not that person gets hired, that person is remembered. There's a moment of you're kind of amused that they've said it. You kind of admire the confidence. But you start to look at them as being a cultural fit. And if it's not a fit for that specific position, what sometimes happens is that as other positions open up, you may remember them because they've already put themselves in. So what happens is that the energy changes. They become more of like an energetic match. So we'll try not to do that. Try not to do that. Try moving with everything that it's yours. And that was just an example, right? But I think with anything in life, move as if it's yours, but it's yours with you having the elevated understanding due to your higher awareness that there are no redundancies and that you're going to end up exactly where you're supposed to be. If that is a location that you're supposed to be, if you move as if it's yours, then that means you gave yourself your best shot. If it doesn't land in your lap, that means there was something better because it's always better. That's the common denominator. Think about the amount of times in your life something didn't work out or you thought it didn't work out. You fast forward 1 year, you look behind you and you realize, oh, thank God that happened. Oh, this is way better. Oh, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have ended up in this opportunity. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have had this job. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be making this money. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have met this man or this woman. If that didn't happen, like we do that all the time. It only goes up. It doesn't go down. The only way for something to go down is to self-sabotage. That's it. If you're staying out of your own way, the only option is up. It's only progression. It's only expansion. It's not contraction. That's all we do. We expand, right? We don't contract. That is that. So you will naturally expand, right? So you move with it's yours with the understanding that regardless of what happens, it's happening to you for your expansion. Wherever you end up, you end up there because of your expansion. Everything that occurs in your life is meant to benefit you. You move through anything that happens is meant to benefit me, right? It's not meant to harm you. And there's protection that's built into everything. And you have permission to move in a way that's a little bit more fearless. Unemployment is one of those things where fear, it just will infiltrate because you don't feel safe. You don't feel secure. You don't know how long it's going to take. You don't know how long that waiting window is going to be. You don't know how long it's going to take for you to get the resources that you feel like you need. You know what I mean? And then like how much longer is the waiting window going to go? Right? There's a lot that's happening when you're in that kind of situation. So I understand that it may feel like it's easier said than done, right? But you'll move through it faster if you're not adding in resistance. And when you are going into a process already afraid that you won't successfully complete it, you started the process with resistance, right? Thank you, Mystic. I appreciate your advice. You are always welcome. This is honestly a life-changing perspective. Good. Makes sense to me. Good. Yep. Okay, good. I have 3 interviews tomorrow and I can feel fear of change coming up, sitting in love and letting it go until it dissolves. I think it's beautiful that like you have identified that you're feeling the fear of change, right? Because we're taught, and I always go back to blaming society that change is wrong. And I think that we're taught that is because when people change, they become unpredictable and people don't find that safe. And so we apply that blanketly to like everything. But change is the only thing that's natural. And we know that in like a spiritual perspective. Like we know that spiritually that like change is the only thing that's natural, but also change is required for your expansion, right? Like you have to molt. Like crabs have to molt, right? Like snakes have to shed skin. Like you are outgrowing. You have outgrown where it is that you are. And so it's time to molt, right? You don't want to get wedged into your shell. You know what I mean? Like you've got to molt. And what's happening is that the shell, like you're like this big thing. And then the shell is this small because at one point you were that small and you fit really well. And now you're blossomed and you're like this thing. And then so energetically, it's like, great, let's try to find you this new shell, right? Let's try to find you a bigger home. If you're a crab, let's get you a bigger home so you can be comfortable, so you can stretch. Right. And then we're like, no. And then we hold on to this tiny, tiny shell that we've outgrown, but then we feel like we can't stretch. Right. So we're afraid of change, but then we're kind of annoyed or we feel stuck because of our current circumstances. But the only way to change the circumstances is to, well, change. Is to allow it to happen. Right. And that you don't have to like not be afraid of it, but think of it more so of like try to just allow, right? Just allow. And then like, you don't have to like it. That may be me asking too much, right? How about we try this? How about we try when we feel change coming, we just say, we just allow and we just back off. And we can maybe you want to throw up. Maybe you feel like throwing up and maybe you do that. But maybe in the process of throwing up, you also have going that you're also too going to just allow the process to happen, right? Because you know you have a higher awareness that you know it's not harm, you know it's not meant to harm you. You have a higher awareness that it's necessary for your change, but maybe, you know, you just have compassion for yourself because you're human. And part of your evolution is growing comfortable with that. But maybe that's not where you are today, but you understand due to your higher awareness that it's part of your evolution. And so you just back off and allow. And while you're allowing, you grant compassion for yourself for feeling how you're feeling. But we just allow, right? I have this thing too. I have had many of moments in the past few weeks where I have wanted to vomit, right? I am now in a season in my life where I feel change is a coming. And I'm uncomfortable. And I also know that it's necessary because I also know what I've put on vision boards, what I've written in journals, right? I also know my dreams, my goals, my aspirations, things that I've laid in bed and I've thought about and thought, oh, that would be so cool, right? And I've looked around in my life, not that there's anything wrong with it, but thought, well, I can't do that here, right? And the way that I want to expand, I can't stretch here. And I know that. And I know that the only way for me to stretch is allow whatever change that I feel happening energetically to just happen. And I've had to grant compassion for myself for feeling a little bit scared during that process. And I'm scared because I feel like I lack information, right? Or maybe I do have the information, but I'm being so hard-headed that I'm like, no, that can't be it. Not possible. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that kind of thing. But I've been having this moment. And I also have this thing too. So do you guys have like a particular synchronicity? I have a particular synchronicity and it's rainbows. Whenever I start seeing rainbows, I know things are about to flip. And it's specifically rainbows in places that they should not be. And it's a lot at one time. So it's never a situation where like the sun is out and maybe you just had a beautiful rain shower and you've got blue skies and then you see a rainbow. It's never that. It's always in a place where it's not supposed to be. And the rainbows are never always curved. Sometimes they're straight, sometimes they're diagonal, sometimes they're zigzag, but it's the full light spectrum, right? And sometimes they're on weird places like walls or like was it yesterday my TV was off, so it's a black screen and I looked over and there was 2 rainbows in it and I said, oh shit. And I went, that's my cue. Fuck. Like, all right. And then oh, okay. I was gonna give you a trick, but before I give you the trick, don't use this unless you're ready. If you say this and you're not ready, your life will move out from under you and you're going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. Whenever you start to feel the change coming and you're tired, this is like specifically when you get to a place where you're tired, you're worn out, you're beat down. Maybe you have been fighting it and you're resisting the change for a really long time. And you get to the point where you're just worn out and you're like, all right, like I'm scared, but I'm really, really tired. I don't want to fight this anymore. Fine. What you can then do is talk to your spirit team. Your spirit team can be your ancestors, it can be your angels, it can be spirit guides, it can be a combination of all of them, whatever. And you're going to talk to them like how I'm talking to you. Have a real conversation. You can say it out loud, you can say it in your head, and then you're going to say, I am now a willing participant for how you're trying to move me and where you're trying to get me to go. And I ask that during this transition, you protect my money, you protect my resources, and you protect my family. When you say that, your life will move and it'll move fast. So only say that until you're ready, because they're going to say, oh, great, you're a willing participant, and you're going to get plucked right on out. Need all the good vibes, trying to heal and move on. Aren't we all? We're all just nothing is constant in the universe but change. Yeah. I appreciate the encouragement. You're so welcome. I was telling a friend that the pay and health benefits are way lower than what I'd wish, but I can't determine if it's a settling out of necessity or an arrow on a bow getting pulled back to shoot forward. I think that that's a really good question. I think it's also a valid question. And I do think that you can explore all your options. You can, and this is HR speaking, you can get a transition job, you know? You can get a job before the job. Like, if you just need something to hold you over, you don't have to commit to them people. No, no. As HR, never commit. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you feel like you need a transition job in order to make you feel safe, take it as a transition job, but remember what you committed to. Don't go in there getting comfortable when you committed that you were going to have better for yourself. And in that commitment to have better for yourself meant more money and better benefits. Don't forget that you made that commitment to yourself, because what happens is that people will take it with the intention that if that's what they're going to do, then they settle and then they're unhappy, right? But if you want a transition job, there's nothing wrong with seeing something as a transition job, and it's the transition to the job or the transition to the next step. For me, all jobs are transition jobs. Even if I'm not trying to transition to the next job, I know I'm not dying at no job. I better not. So it's all a transition job for me. It's a transition to like wherever I'm supposed to be going in life, or wherever my next step is that bring me the most amount of fulfillment. Bees, but I don't know why bees. Bees? What about bees? Repeat, please. I don't remember what I said. Oh, I need to blow my nose. Oh, I don't have anything over here. That's unfortunate. Oh, I don't know what it is. Oh, fruit spray. Oh, but yes, the only thing is, it's okay to be afraid of changing, and it's going to come up a lot. Like if that's a trigger point for you, like right now, because of the season that we're going in, it's going to come in a lot. But you already knew going into what you're walking out of that you were going to walk out of it. I just want to remind you, you're not. First of all, the people that are around you don't deserve to be so close to your greatness. Okay? The people that are currently around you don't even appreciate the gift that's in front of them right now. Why are you trying to stay in a place in which you've already overstayed your welcome? Or why are you trying to go into an environment that your energy is already too big for? Is it you shrinking? Is it you dimming your light? Is it because there's a part of you that feels like you're not worth it, or that you're not good enough, or that you don't deserve something? Is that why you're currently self-sabotaging? How about in this season of change, just an idea. You don't have to resonate with it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But in this season of change, you challenge yourself to actually move into spaces that are actually big enough to hold your energy. Because part of your problem is that you're moving in spaces that are too small and then wondering why you feel so stuffed up, wondering why you feel so stuck, wondering why you can't express yourself in the way that you want to express yourself, wondering why people don't really truly understand you, wondering why you'll never find anyone that actually appreciates you for who you are, because you're moving in small spaces around small people. And when you move in small spaces around small people, well, you get small experiences. And then what happens is that you get so accustomed to being around that energy that you then begin to think that that kind of energy is normal. And then so when you want something bigger for yourself, when you want something more expansive for yourself, you then start asking yourself, well, am I crazy? Is this too big? Is this too big of a goal? Can I actually do that? And then you start doing this real sneaky thing where you start chopping the goal up into real small pieces because you convinced yourself that you have to do it small first. Why do you have to do it small first? Or you do this thing where like you're trying to figure out how to move forward, but maybe you don't have the answer yet, right? And here's the thing about having questions and answers. You're only going to get the answer to a question when it's time for you to then answer the question. So sometimes you'll like be looking forward out. You'll be looking like 6 months out, thinking to yourself, well, how am I going to accomplish that? How am I supposed to do that? Then you won't have the answer for it. And then so you then like drop and abandon your goal. But that wasn't the point of it. You just don't have the answer to it because it's 6 months out. And then like, what are you going to do holding that information? Like the brain still functions like a computer. It only has but so much like storage and memory. So like if you're holding on to all the answers to everything right now, then like, but then you're not using any of the information for anything at this particular moment, what's the point of having it? But the answer always shows up on time exactly when you need it, right? Like think about like anytime you were in a bind and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And then right on cue, suddenly the answer comes. Either it comes to you, whether it's like a spark of inspiration, maybe you had a dream, maybe someone randomly offers an idea. Well, what if you did this? Maybe you come across a stranger who's just talking and they say something and it pings and you're like, oh my God, that's how I can solve that problem. The answer always comes to you at the exact moment when it's needed to be used. If you don't have the answer to something yet, you just don't need it yet. The action isn't required yet. So if you're like in a period of like waiting and you're still stuck and you don't know what to do and you're like, I'm waiting for the answer, it's possible that the action isn't required yet, and so you don't need the answer yet on how to do the action. Because when you need it, it'll come, right? So that could also be like part of it too. If you knew how much I'm amused, all my interviews, including this one, has been for HR jobs. You should know better. That's so funny. Do you do like HR? Is that your profession? Or are you moving into HR? Because I'm so surprised. Because you should totally know how to like finagle an interview. One thing I'm good at doing is interviewing. I'm really good at interviewing because I know exactly what you want. I know exactly what you want. I know exactly what you're going to ask me. I know exactly what you want to hear and how you want to hear it. I'm really good at interviewing because I know the playbook. I think they were talking about repeating what you said about what to tell the universe when you're ready to move forward. Oh, okay. So when you're ready to move forward, right? But you're scared of the change and you find yourself fighting, right? You're in a state of resistance. And so you want to lift that resistance. And in order to lift the resistance, you need to become a willing participant. And this happens when you feel like you're being pushed. When you start to feel like you're being pushed out of a situation and you're like holding on for dear life, right? This is when you become a willing participant. And then this is when you then say to the universe, your spirit guides, your ancestor team, your team of angels, whatever the spirit team is on the other side that you're working with. And you're going to say, I am now a willing participant during this transition. Please protect my money, my resources, and my family. So if you are taking care of people, for example, maybe you are the breadwinner or something and you want to make sure they always have everything that they need or that they're fed. Protect my money, my resources, and my family during this transition. We can just rewind back. It's totally cool. But yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. We're all in, I think you'll be fine. You're going to be uncomfortable, you know? But that's kind of the fun. That's what makes life life, That's the fun of it. Like learning how to like laugh at it, right? Learning how to have a little bit of humor with it, learning how to play with it, learning how to like engage with it, right? Learning how to talk to it, learning how to talk to life, because you're really just talking to yourself, right? Remember, you're the creator. This is a projection. You are a specific focus of the creator. That's it. It's actually you pulling all the strings. You've just forgot that you're doing it. So just learn how to laugh at some of the decisions that you've already made. I guys talk to each other. But yeah, just learn how to laugh at it. I want to say it's not that deep, but I get it. For some people, it's deep. But if you're changing anyway, I think this can go back to like triggering your own season finale, throwing your own shoe. Something like being the willing participant is you throwing the shoe. It's you triggering the season finale to something. It's you being like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. Oh, okay. All right. I'm ready. Right. And then you pull the plug on it. Like start pulling the plug instead of feeling like, or allowing life to feel like it's always pulling the plug on you. Do it first. Be a little bit more petty, Do it first for the sake of saying you did it first. Stop feeling like, or stop allowing opportunities or even people to get you to the point where you feel like they're pushing you out of spaces, right? Maybe move from a place of like, I go when I'm ready, right? I go when it's my time, right? Like make the decision to go on your own. And for most of you, and a lot of these situations, you've already made the decision. HR is my profession. I've worked in there for 5-ish years at this point. The saying about the shoemaker having ill-fitted shoes applies to me. Recruitment interviews are my least favorite thing. They are my least favorite thing too. I can't stand them. I really hate doing interviews. I really hate it. Mostly because, why do I hate doing them? I don't feel like talking to people. Is that surprising? Like at work, I'm very much like, look, I'm here for the money and like, that's it. Like, let's not, that's my incentive. I'm here for the money so I can buy fake Christmas trees with fake snow on it. Like, I'm not here for a family experience, right? Like, I'm not here for all of that. Yeah. And that may be, yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Mm-hmm. How much time are we? What time did we are at? Oh, we did. Oh, not too bad. I've got a few more minutes. We can do, if you want, we can do Q&A. Did I put that on the title? I didn't put that on the title this time, but we can do Q&A. So I will open it up for anyone that has questions. It can be literally about anything. We could talk about spirituality. If you need a little bit of life coaching, we can do that. Or spiritual modalities, or like, what else can I answer questions on? Ooh, publishing. If you like writing, I can do that. Yeah, whatever. Let me know what you guys got. And if you don't have any questions, I could also just go to bed, I'm also impartial. Any updates from the Galactic Council? No, I actually haven't gotten any updates to the Galactic Council. Mostly because I haven't actually like pinged them or like beamed up to see what they were doing. I mean, they kind of do the same thing because it's like their job, at least the one that I work with, is their job. It's a lot of monitoring to see what different civilizations are doing, because it's not just Earth, but it's just a lot of monitoring, and like that's kind of what they do. And they still just serve in their like advisor capacity, but they don't have any updates, so like world updates or like new things. I think a lot of the information about what's currently happening is already out right now. There isn't new things. What's really the case is people adjusting to the information that's already out. It's really about people adjusting to what they know. And something that they do have a particular interest in is how like humanity adjusts to that, right? So like right now we're seeing a massive uptick in like spirituality and humanity. And we're seeing a lot of people trying to figure out what spirituality means. Like things that are more organized, like religion, is losing favor and popularity. And with spirituality, there's different degrees of it, but it does eventually sort of bring you back into self and truth. And with that is people's new discovery of like metaphysical principles, people's discovery of extraterrestrial life. And there is a kind of amusement that they have in terms of seeing how that unfolds. I've been personally amused by that myself too, actually. Like one thing I find really amusing recently is that there's a lot of whistleblowers that you're seeing from like these intelligence agencies. And they're like, they're aliens. We gotta tell you. But then you have a portion of the population that's like, yeah, duh. But then you have this whole portion of the population that is in the beginning phases of their waking up. And those phases are a bit more extreme than they have been in the past. And so by in the past, I mean like prior to us being alive, and there are 3 generations here, right? So like this audience is primarily Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z. It's a pretty even distribution. And I'm talking before all of us, right? So before the life of all of us. Whenever there was like a kind of renaissance period, it wasn't so extreme. It's a lot more extreme right now, and it's a lot faster, I suspect maybe due to social media. And yeah, so there's like an amusement of like how that impacts society and like how that impacts culture and what people do about it. Between the managers rushing you to find a god among men in 24 hours and getting annoyed about why their badly paid specialized position is still open weeks later are my reasons. That's funny. Can you please speak on parenting and how astrology and metaphysics tie into that? So I can't speak into parenting because I'm not a parent. And so I don't think that I would have an ability to provide good information on that. But in terms of like your birth date, right? So when it comes to like okay, so when you incarnate, you pick the energies that you would like to work with in order to help you get to what it is that you're ultimately trying to achieve. Whatever you want your mission to be, or whatever you want your purpose is, or whatever is singing to you in your heart, and it's going to be very silent and it's going to sit in your heart. So if you're like, where's the purpose? It's somewhere in the heart, right? And so you will pick the incarnation area and the date. So you will pick like geographic region. You will pick the date. You will pick your parents. You will pick your family. You will pick what's the other one? There's one more that is slipping my mind, but you do pick all your factors to help, and what you're doing is picking the energies that you think are going to best align and help you get to what it is that you want to go, where you want to go. And so people find this actually really difficult because they think, my parents, why the hell would I choose that family? You know what I mean? Or why would I choose this hard life? Or why would I choose all these challenges? Why would I choose all this grief, right? Depending on what it is that you're trying to do, everything helps you get to where it is that you're supposed to go. And it builds the experience. It builds the specialism. It builds the resilience, the fortitude, and everything it is that you need to go. Like, for example, like when it comes to my life, I dealt with an immense amount of grief early on and a lot of people passing away early on. And for me, that was like, why would I do that? Why would I pick that for myself? Right. But when I fast forward to my life now, everything that I learned in that window and all the skills that were developed in that window actually assist me with what I do today. And if I didn't have that window, I'm not sure I'd be quite as good at it. Right. It's because I had that window that I am even a psychic medium, that I was able to develop in that skill. It's because I had that window. And it was necessary. Without the window, I wouldn't be Mystic Rain, right? And so depending on what it is that you're trying to do will determine what energies that you actually pick, right? And so like that's also the birth chart, like that is a clue into what your greater desire was in terms of like the purpose that you actually wanted to fulfill, right? It's a clue into what your past life was because the lives are tied together. Like in your birth chart, you can see the energies that you were working with in your past life. So if you want, check out your South Node, by the way. If you're like, oh, what is that? Check out your South Node. Your South Node will give you a clue into what energies you're bringing in from your past life. Your North Node will give you a clue into what you're supposed to be doing in this life. They connect to each other, right? So you're bringing in, that's the South Node, Node, right? In order to achieve whatever this thing is, which is the North Node or something that you actually want to realize in this particular lifetime. That's one of the points that you can actually look at in like astrology and in your birth chart. They're all just clues into what you've got going on, right? They're clues into what karma that you chose to want to work out, or it's clues into themes that you had wanted to experience, right? Human design is like that too, because it's also attached to astrology. It's clues into what the actual purpose was, what it is wanted to do, right? Like if you're someone that's like a one life path number, for example, what you wanted to do was tied into leadership. Most likely what'll happen is that you will come into this lifetime having themes of struggling to assume a leadership role, assuming leadership roles, and then feeling like you're hit with a lot of resistance or people are fighting you every which way, being scared to speak up, right? A lot of the times it'll show you, people look at it and they see their challenges, but the challenge is just the other side of the spectrum to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. That's because that's what makes the journey fun, right? Getting through those challenges to make it to the other side. So when you're talking about with kids, it's best, it'll help you understand that. So like I have done birth charts for people in the past, like for babies. And what that helps people do, like it's helpful for me to be like, this is the type of personality that they're probably going to have, right? When they reach adolescence, they may be misunderstood for this particular thing. It'll show you if they will have insecurities with how they communicate, if they have insecurities with you as the parent, if they'll have insecurities with how they deal with money or resources or how they handle things with relationships and families. It gives you like a blueprint. And when kids are born, yeah, sometimes it's nice going in as a parent to know what you'd be dealing with or what your child will be dealing with in order to help better assist them through that. And like looking at things like astrology can be really helpful for that. By the way, you can also ask babies what they want to do in the womb. They do start talking when they're in the womb. And so sometimes they'll just tell you what they want to do. And they'll also sometimes tell you what they want to be called. So if you're like, what do I call this baby? Sometimes they'll tell you what they want their name to be. And the names are also a reflection of the energy that you wanted to use and what you wanted to have. So even if you don't like your name, the energetic resonance that's created by the name is also a clue into what it is that you wanted to do, like purpose-wise in life. You asked if we had any synchronicities. That is the cutest way I've ever seen it spelled, by the way. Popping up, and you said yours was rainbows and mine lately have been bees. Oh, bees. Oh, you know what? Thank you for reminding me. I don't remember what I say. Sometimes I just be channeling things and I don't remember what I say. I feel like free will and manifesting and growth are pretty straightforward until kids come into the equation. As I can imagine, as a spiritual mom of 4 teens and toddlers, I am melting. Yeah, like I can only imagine, literally. I can literally only imagine because I don't have them. So it's weird. So I don't have any experience in order to be able to like contribute to like a really good girthy conversation about it. On the subject of synchronicities, for several months, I kept finding screws everywhere I went, and it was really odd. I decorated a cute jar to collect them, and they stopped appearing. Interesting. Have you ever looked up like the symbol of a screw? Was that a season in your life where maybe you were self-sabotaging yourself? Were you screwing yourself? Was someone screwing you? Was that a season in your life where maybe you understood something and you screwed that up? I'm curious. Maybe you should look up like the meaning of a screw. I know that heart opening is mostly about becoming a better version of yourself and being open to hearing from your higher self, but do you have tips of heart connection? I'd like to hear spirit more. Okay. I know that the heart opening is mostly about becoming a better version of yourself. I'm I feel conflicted. I'll tell you why. I'm not totally sure if I think that opening the heart is one of the goals. I think the heart opening becomes an effect. So I don't think it's the cause. I think it's an effect. I think the cause is being more authentic. And with authenticity comes just natural compassion that begins to grow over time. National understanding, not national, natural understanding that kind of grows over time. Um, you start to be able to see things from a wider perspective, from a bird's eye view. And I think the effect of that is that then the heart space kind of starts to open up a little bit more. But I also don't think that the heart space is what's required to connect with spirit more. I think honestly, you just need to want to. There's a lot of people that connect with spirit who have very closed hearts and very closed fields and very close energy. It's more about wanting to. Um, we have to remember that like spirit doesn't have requirements. We think that there's a requirement that we have to have something open or something closed. Like it's the same reason why you've never heard me talk about a pineal gland over here and like opening your pineal gland and like decalcifying your pineal gland, because I don't think that you have to deliberately open or close anything. I think you have to want to, and then therefore it happens. And the reason why I say that is because we're not communicating with something that's not our we're communicating with the self. We're not communicating with something outside of the self, right? Communicating with spirit is like communicating with yourself. I'm a spirit talking to you, and you're a spirit listening to me. We're the same thing. It's not separate. There is no degree of separation. There is no separateness. I'm spirit and you're spirit. And so the idea that you have the ability to then also communicate with spirit isn't a far-fetched idea, because you're just communicating with that of what you are. And so do you want to communicate with what it is that you are, right? Do you want to communicate with yourself? Your spirit, of course you can communicate with spirit. Now, how do you want to communicate, right? And then I also think people think that the only way the communication happens maybe is like you maybe only hear it, for example. And I think this is a human thing. I don't think it's like a you thing. I think it's a human thing. I think as humans, we put so many rules on things, because it's the way we interact with our world and it's the way we understand things. And so we just label things and we put rules on it. But we have to remember that this is metaphysics. It does not follow 3D logic. And it does not follow 3D rules. 3D rules will tell you that you have to do this, 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 and this, that you have to be eligible for this, 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 and this, that you have to prove yourself by doing this, 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 and this. And like metaphysics says, well, do you want it? And like, that's it, right? And so I would say maybe open up to trying other ways of communication because the heart will grow naturally. The heart space will open up naturally, and it does that with time. Part of the opening is healing and understanding and processing grief and working through trauma, and that's not really something that like you can speed up. I mean, maybe you could. I don't know if I would recommend that. It may be painful. It may be like a really hurtful experience, and it's probably best to do that over time in a way that's like the most comfortable. But you can try other ways. Maybe it's not hearing, maybe it's seeing, maybe it's not seeing, maybe it's feeling. Not everybody so I can hear, but I don't see physical like apparitions. I see in my mind's eye, but I don't see physical apparitions, mostly because I'm scared of them and I don't want to see. But I made that decision. I made the decision to see them in a certain way. And so what you could try doing is saying, spirit team, you can say it out loud. I've always done it out loud. Or if you want to say it in your head, you can say it in your head. If you prefer writing, you can write it down like in a journal. And you can say, hearing is a little bit tough for me, but I think I would prefer these methods of communication, and then tell them how you would prefer the communication to go. Are you someone that would prefer to see just lots of synchronicities, and then the synchronicities are a yes or a no answer to something? Are you someone that would like to see or hear in a dream? Are you someone that dreams a lot and you're like, okay, I'm not doing a good job hearing, but come visit me in my sleep? Would you prefer that? Are you someone who meditates a lot and you would prefer to get information while you're meditating? Like, think about other ways that you can receive information. Do you write? You can do automatic writing, which is effectively channeling with a pen, where you kind of sit down in an open space ready to write, and then whatever flows out of the pen, you just kind of allow on a page, and then you kind of come back into. That's a lot of how I write, by the way. Sometimes my eyes are closed and I'm just going, and then when I open my eyes, I reread it and I'm like, whoa, that was good. So you could try that. So maybe try a different method. Maybe hearing isn't the dominant method. Maybe it strengthens later, but maybe it's not the dominant method now. People also can have a dominant method, by the way. Just as like some people have 20/20 vision and some people wear glasses, right? Like, it's the same thing. Some people have better hearing than others, like literal hearing. And so it may just be that it's not the dominant way you receive it, but everyone's always receiving it. It's about figuring out, when have you noticed in the past you received messages, and when you receive them the most often, like what kind of way you get them the most often. That is probably a clue into that being your most dominant method. And then maybe practice receiving it that way. Like, okay, I get it this way, communicate with me this way more often. And then also with the while also staying grounded part. Okay, I'm conflicted. Let me tell you why. I'm conflicted because what I was about to tell you to do is not what I do, right? So I can go by the book here, which is like, you can stay grounded by meditation, which is a helpful way. You can picture yourself as a tree with roots that are anchored in the ground, which keeps you grounded. And what that does is anchor your energy into the earth instead of having it sort of flying up above in the clouds. The way I stay grounded is by not taking it too seriously, finding humor in the experience. Eating, right? Like, if you are communicating with spirit or you're doing a reading for someone, like, then eating, doing something that engages the body in a very physical human thing, like interaction. But yeah, I just don't take it too seriously. It's just, I get that people feel it's serious, but I personally, it's just not that deep to me. It's just not that deep. Like, my spirit buddies are like my friends. I recognize that they also have contracts. Them helping me helps them fulfill their contracts too. You know, it's also me helping them. It's a relationship that goes both ways. We check in with each other. And actually, like, my spirit team, they're funny. Some of them laugh. Some of them high five me, or like fist bump me. They're not so serious. And that was something that changed when I changed. I stopped taking it so serious. Like, because I remembered that this is what we are. For me, it's easier to stay grounded because this is what we are. This is what we naturally are. This whole reality that we're experiencing right now, this is the part that's not natural. But like, our ability to communicate with spirit, because we are our self is spirit, that's natural. So a lot of the practice, you are back in your natural state of being. Still wondering what that meant. I can't think of anything besides maybe the universe was telling me I have a few screws loose or to go get laid. Well, I think both could be valid. I have noticed the swiftness for sure. Hey, Q, love and blessings sent your way. Oh, received. I understand. I have a Scorpio, Pluto in the 5th house. Scorpio, my kids are my life, and I could bear I could bear being apart from them, but also, oh my gosh, they drive me to the brink. And also, I'm in a challenging partnership. Well, yeah, you put all that soup together. hmm But also remember too, challenges are just opportunities for growth. If you feel challenged, if you feel squeezed, if you feel pushed, if you feel like you're in something sticky, it's because there's an opportunity in there. That opportunity will lead you to grow, it'll lead to expansion. So, where is the lesson? What's the lesson? What is it trying to show you? What is it trying to teach you? Is it something that it has tried to show you in the past, but you ignored? The sooner you clock it, the sooner it will resolve itself. One life path here. LO, definitely if it's right, right? Uh, God, I didn't realize I missed so many of these. My job was screwing me over at the time, which wage theft. Oh my God, and other issues. And then I left, and shortly afterward was about when they stopped appearing. Oh, maybe that was it. I wasn't sure what to even ask Google. Spiritual meaning of screws. That probably would be it. You know what? Let's see. Spiritual meanings of screws. Well, according to TikTok, screws represent strength, stability, and power. I don't know if we're going to keep that one. Hold on. Let's keep going. Something says the journey towards self-realization as we screw ourselves into higher states. Screws fasten things together. Can symbolize the need to secure or fix something in your life. I mean, that's a rabbit hole. You can be there for a while. I think it's synchronicity in action. You were talking about a lack of pushback of the vote results. First post I see on the Facebook 5 minutes ago is about how strange no one calls it into question. Yeah, it's super weird. Well, you know what? I take that back. I actually don't think it's weird. I think it's convenient. I think it's right on cue. One of my repeated synchronicities is what I call mirror numbers, 909, 1023. When I see times like these, I feel like the universe is adding an exclamation point to a thought or a gesture. Then watch out for your mirror numbers. I love that. Potentially the meaning of the symbolism. Oh, you're talking to each other. Oh, you're talking to. Okay, scroll down. I am so surprised there are results for that why I never thought to look it up. Yeah, you can look up anything. Look up dream meanings. Anytime you think of a symbol, you can look it up. There's also symbol books. Like if you go to Amazon and you just type in like book of symbols, there's symbol books too. And keeping my cute jar on the mantle though, I drew little stars on it and everything. Oh, so then you added symbols to the original symbol. So then what would a star mean added to the original screw? What would a jar mean that the screw is in the jar? Is the jar closed? If it is closed, is it a lid where you screw that shut? Is it a lid where it clamps down? What would that mean? Is it open? Is it an open jar? Why is it open? Like, we could really go for it. You know what I mean? We could so go for it. Anyway, guys, it has been enough time. It has been enough time. So I am going to head out. I'm going to hit you like a comic. That's my time. And I'm going to head out and, enjoy my evening. And you should enjoy your evening or your afternoon or your morning, whatever it is that you are. And I love you guys. And I will see you next week.